Menopausal and perimenopausal women, listen up. It's time to take control of your health and comfort, and Winona is here to help. Winona is a telemedicine company for menopause care who believes that your symptoms are real, important, and deserve to be taken seriously. And for many women, this starts with hormone replacement therapy. Winona's HRT is made with plant-based, bioidentical hormones rather than synthetic ones, so it better aligns with your body to offer relief from hot flashes, weight gain, and other uncomfortable symptoms. 80% of women who use Winona find relief within just 90 days. So, what are you waiting for? Get started today. Visit buywinona.com today to start your free visit. With free shipping and the ability to pause or cancel at any time, your path to wellness has zero obligations. Use code SPRING24 at buywinona.com for 25% off your first treatment plan. That's BYWINONA.com for 25% off. Winona. Menopause care made easy. Summer is the season of hot temperatures, outdoor adventures, and refreshing water activities. Summer is also the season of rough on your feet, causing dry, cracked heels and toes. Introducing Babyfoot, the original exfoliation foot peel that contains 16 natural extracts formulated to remove dead skin cells in 3 easy steps. Apply the booties, relax for an hour, then wash your feet. In 14 days, you've got baby smooth skin and your feet have never been softer. Letting dead skin cells build up over time is hazardous to your foot health. Our professional-grade DIY products, like our original exfoliation foot peel, our men's foot peel, or our moisturizing mask, are some of the best foot care products on the market, created with your foot health in mind. Pamper yourself with a spa day from the comfort and convenience of your own home with Babyfoot. If you want a chemical-free, easy-to-use exfoliating process from the company that created the original foot peel, it's time to treat yourself to Babyfoot. Go to babyfoot.com and use the code SUMMERFEET24 and get 20% off your first order with Babyfoot. That's babyfoot.com and use the code SUMMERFEET24.
Hello and welcome to Too Stupid to Live, a podcast that reviews romance novels $5 and under. And boy, it feels good to be back from my January hiatus. Like, honestly, it feels like I haven't done a podcast in like 3 years, even though it's just been a month. Like, before the record, I was actually talking into the wrong end of the microphone. That was silly. Just kidding. Listen, I make that mistake every time I record a podcast episode. But I am excited for this first podcast episode back, the first episode of 2023, because it is a special Hot as Hell with TSTL episode, where I interview authors and other folks in the sexalicious world of Romancelandia. My guest today is my friend Amy Spalding, who has a new romance out for her consideration, which I cannot recommend enough. It was so good, so powerful, it's funny, it's sexy, and I had a blast chatting with Amy all about it in this scorching hot episode of TSTL. So you better have something cool with you to drink, unless you want to get overheated with our sexy book conversation, in which case, good for you. So please, enjoy this episode, where Amy Spalding gets hot as hell with TSTL. That was really graceful. You should have seen. Oh, you should have seen.
Yeah, this is why we're not on video.
Yeah. Oh my God. It'd be like, I loved the part when she got stuck in her sweatshirt. That was so.
I love the part where Amy adjusted her glasses 26 times.
Well, Amy, welcome back to Too Stupid to Live. How are you doing? This is a very exciting time to be Amy Spalding.
It is. Thank you. I'm so happy to be back. I feel like recording your podcast was I know it technically wasn't, but it feels like one of the final things I did in person before lockdown.
It was, yeah. I remember that because we were like, let's get together sometime, and then like we couldn't meet in person.
Right, because we're like people who like we saw each other at parties and would like run into each other, but like we were gonna make real plans and hang out in real life, and then there was a global pandemic.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So like it's weird. Like it's a weird thing where I've like placed you in this like very specific like the very end before it all happened category. So it's. Mm-hmm. It's so nice to be chatting when it doesn't feel like, I mean, you know, fingers crossed, there's not about to be another new global pandemic. So
we'll be fine. I know.
We're going to make real plans in person and like see each other. And
yeah, no, we really should. Yeah. Because like life is getting back to normal. Who knows? As an epidemiologist myself, I can assure everyone We're getting together.
As someone who deeply believes in jinxing, I just want to say no jinxing to any of this. Like, come on, let's just hope for the best.
Yeah, I can tell as an epidemiologist, I'll tell all the diseases, guys.
Just behave for a while. We had a time and now we're
Yeah,
gonna have a different time.
exactly. Yeah, just like cool it just a bit. Okay. So you have a new book out for her consideration. And let me just say, I'm going to jump to the end of the book for a second.
Great. Spoil the whole thing.
Spoil the whole thing. There's a thank you section at the end of you thank people in your author's note at the end. Spoilers. This is a new genre for you. Romance is a new genre for you.
Yes. I mean, I love romance, and I write, my YA novels are like romantic comedies or have like a lot of romance in them. But this is the first time that I was like, I'm just full on going for it, writing a romance for and about grown-ups.
Yes. So what made you decide to do, like, was it something that you always wanted to do, or was it just like, it just came to you like, I think I'll do that?
I've read romance on and off for like a lot of my life, and obviously a huge fan, but I didn't actually, I know this is going to sound weird, but I sort of felt like I couldn't do it. I was like, well, that's for adult romance writers. I'm a YA writer. I do my own thing, and that's great. And I will just read these books and love them. And then I started, people I knew were sort of like writing both or transitioning from YA to adult. And I also like, I feel like the more I love something, sometimes I get excited about like, well, maybe I could do that, which is not always true. Sometimes it's just a thing you like and you can't. But I sort of like, I thought about it, and then I don't know. I didn't really have a solid idea. I kind of played around with an idea, but like nothing was really. And so I just was like, I'm not going to worry about this. I have plenty going on. And then there was a global pandemic and I was home all the time. I'd already finished a YA novel that I was waiting on finding out if it was going to get bought or not. And I really wanted to be working on something because it was like I had the time. And also I feel like my brain is better when it's like working on a creative project and not just like left to its own devices in a normal time. Not always great. Left to its own devices during like the summer and fall of 2020, like just absolutely not. So I really wanted to write something else, and I kind of thought, and I also thought like I could put out more books and do more things if I was in two genres, so I should add a genre. And also like, why write another YA if I'm waiting to hear on this one anyway? So I was like, well, a lot of people are writing middle grade, and maybe that feels like what I'll do. And I loved so many middle grades growing up. And then like none of those books are like, because they're about children. They're not about like making out and having witty banter. And it turned out that though I love reading those books still, like I was like, I really like writing romance. And I was like, I think it's obvious then, like, what is the thing you should try to write? And then I had an idea for this book, and I thought like, well, no one knows what you're doing. You're home every day. You're not going out with like your writer friends where people are like, what are you working on? You can like, you don't have to talk about this. You can just write it quietly and see what happens. And if it's garbage, and if you feel like you don't know what you're doing, like no one ever has to know. It's fine. And so I just started working on it. And then I was like, oh shit, I like this. I think maybe this is a book.
It is. I can attest as an epidemiologist.
I've diagnosed it as a novel.
Yes, it is a book. It's so funny, like, you wrote this during the pandemic, and I think, like, the character of Nina goes through this journey of when we first meet her, she very much is keeping to herself. She works from home. She doesn't go out. And, like, so my first question for you is, like, was that inspired by, like, our collective lifestyle in the pandemic, or was that, like, a character you wanted to write, like, pre-pandemic?
I think in my head, it was all just like, this is the character work, because like I really wanted to write somebody who'd not just been isolated, but had like isolated herself and taken herself away from society. But I do think it's very telling that that's the character I thought of during lockdown. because it does feel like I was like clearly like working out how it felt to be like taken away from everything.
Yeah, it was just like the little moments where, you know, she was talking about like it was her clothes, I think, and just like talking about her wardrobe and her closet and being like, I need going out clothes, and just like having her mind blown. Like it was that,
Yes.
you know, that I was like, this is very pandemic-y.
And just the idea of like, I don't even know, like, what are clothes for? Is this the right outfit for this? Like, this is the closest thing I can approximate, but I don't know.
Yeah. And I think this like goes to another point. Like in this book, you know, the main character, she's like hiding and she shuts herself out. And it just like, when you first meet her, you realize that like social interactions for her are such high stakes because of like what she has been through.
Yes. Which is also,
yeah.
I think, how it felt for all of us when we started like venturing out again.
Yes, yeah. Because she would be like, you know, like driving to meet someone at, you know, a bar or whatever, and just like, and even like in like the conversations where she first meets her love interest and was just like, I shouldn't have said that, you know, again, it was such a mindset that was so, so relatable.
Yeah. I mean, I overthink, I feel like every conversation I have. So,
Oh, yeah, me too.
and I'd like to say, oh, yeah, that's just post pandemic. It's like, no, that's all post, like, that's post being born. I've basically overthought everything. So I feel like I often, it's not just that I give it to a character, but it's almost like I have to be like, that's not everyone's baseline. You don't have to do that with every character, but Nina, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. And I literally just learned that lesson that overthinking is not everyone's baseline, I want to say 3 months ago.
Oh, yeah. It's because I'm like, oh, no. We all like over examine every like social interaction we've ever had, correct? And some people are like, no, what are you talking about? And it's like, what?
Yeah. Like, I'm like, wait a minute. You don't think about something embarrassing you said when you were 16 years old every single moment of your day? And they're like,
To a person who you no longer even know, because that's still haunting me.
yeah, I'm thinking about it now. Again, it was very relatable, but like also, you know, the character, like I really appreciated you writing her as accepting like these big emotions, because she feels very,
Yes.
she feels, and as someone who was always like reprimanded for being too like saying you're being too sensitive, like that sentence, you know what I mean, like it was like,
Yes.
ooh.
Oh, same here.
Mm-hmm.
Or even like you have a good big feeling, people are like, oh, it's too much, like, God, why are you being so annoying about it? And it's like, oh, so I can't be happy, like that's also annoying.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Like, yeah. I feel like I live this is going to become therapy. I live every day of my life feeling like I'm too much.
Yes. So it's like, I love getting to write characters that also feel that way. I do feel like I then to like take them through the journey of like, I'm like, you're not too much, you're the right amount. And then meanwhile, I'm like, oh, I'm too much. Anyway, my character learned a lesson.
Someone learned listen, as long as someone learned the lesson.
It wasn't me, the person who, but it's fine. It's all good.
It's fine. You know, like sometimes it's like when you write a character, are you ever like, you know, I know what I need to learn and that's good enough. The character will do the rest.
It's so like, there are definitely things with Nina that I'm like, well, I'm glad she overcame that while I still struggle, but between the two of us, one of us being fictional, it's fine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's fine. She has a very interesting job that Nina has.
Yes.
Okay, describe her job.
So Nina works for a talent agency, and she writes the emails that celebrities send when they're working out meetings and thank yous and stuff for anything going through that agency. So she's basically like ghostwriting the emails of celebrities so that like, you know, meetings and logistics can be worked out, but that like obviously like a celebrity is not going to actually spend time doing any of that.
Right.
So her job is to make it seem like maybe they are.
Yes. Is that something that you've done or have had experience with?
Well, okay, so I believe it is part of like, I don't think anyone is like just Nina where that's all they do. I think it's like if you're working at an agency or management group, publicist, that may be part of your job. You may also be the person running their social media accounts and like doing things along those lines. I thought it was fun to just like have that be her job. And also like, that's why I made it like a remote freelance sort of job. So like I'm like, well, there's some weeks maybe she doesn't send that many emails, but maybe there's some weeks she sends a lot. And I'm gonna cough. Excuse me. But I actually like I experienced it from the other side where I was having to like set something up with like a celebrity, and I like got emails from her and I was like, I don't think she sent these. Because like there was just this feeling that like I also just didn't believe it was like a young cool celebrity. I'm not trying to like brag. It was a like I don't want like I don't know young cool celebrities except through like a business sense. So I just want to be clear. I'm not friends with young. I'm very old.
You should see her background right now. There's just so many young, cool celebrities walking back and forth.
They're just, I can't make them leave. They're so young. It's so cool.
Is that Harry Styles? I don't know. I don't know who's young and cool.
I know. I mean, I was talking about this with someone. They're like, how famous was this person? I'm like, well, I honestly don't know because they're young and cool. So to me, I had to Google them. But then to other people, famous. Also, they become more famous since this happened. So now, anyway, yeah. I was getting these emails where I'm like, I just don't believe this young, cool person is sending them and like dealing with like logistics and like telling me like little important tidbits. But then I just kept thinking like, who wrote this email? And it made me laugh because I was like, oh, that's just someone's job. Like someone had to do this. And then that was around the time when I was like, maybe I'm going to write a romance. And I just kept thinking like, that would be such a fun character. And I had sort of started playing with like, it was all kind of coming together at the same time. And the idea of like someone who'd sort of like isolated herself. I love the idea that like even her communications was like as someone else. Like it just, I felt like it fit together so well that like she's writing as someone else. She's like cut herself off from her friends and like her old, like just like her old like home really. And it just, to me, that was like, to me, I immediately was like, oh, I'm starting to understand who this character is. And that made me really excited to write her. But also like immediately I was like, well, obviously the love interest would be like one of the celebrities whose email account she manages. Like it, like at that point, it's just like writing itself. So you're like, great. I know. Like, and it came together, like the overall idea came together pretty quickly after that.
Yeah. I it's so interesting you say that because like I was reading it and, like this is, I mean, I'm probably talking about the book in general, but like, you know, it's not like I don't want to say typical, but when you think of a Hollywood romance, right? You think small town person falls in love with the big celebrity and the journey is paparazzi. Oh, I'm on Twitter. Oh, blah, blah, blah. And it's not that at all. And it was so fucking, I'm saying fucking because that's how much I appreciate it. It was so refreshing to read.
Well, I also feel like, I mean, we live in LA. We both know people who are like in the industry. We know people at like at least a low level of some recognition. And like a lot of it is just that it's not, I don't want to say it's not cool because it's all cool. And I love it when people I think are great get recognized. But at the same time, a lot of it is just like management meetings and spreadsheets and people setting up emails for you because you don't have the time or because they need to be managed a certain way. And like to me, a lot of and like I work in film marketing, so much of this world is just, I don't say it's boring, but it's just business. It's not paparazzi and like that's one night a year.
Yeah. You know? For some people.
So yeah, I don't even have like, it's not even one night a year for me. So I think I also really like, I enjoy writing what the industry like is to those who work in it, which is like, it's like a job.
Yeah. And like I think like it was nuanced. And I think it was like a nuance that living in LA, I sense that I get. But like, even if I wasn't living in LA, like, and seeing like, you know, just the day-to-day life of like working in an industry or even just like being a, you know, a not as popular celebrity and like what that's like and the different like tiers. It's like, it felt very like, oh yeah, like Hollywood isn't just like, you know, like the people who are like scrubbing the toilets and then the movie stars.
Right. There's so many people in between.
Yes.
But also the people who have power are not always who you expect. Like, it's like, yeah, it's celebrities, but also like in some ways, like the agents and the managers have power that like the celebrities don't have. And they're like the ones trying to like make certain things happen.
Yeah. Cause like, I feel like as like a creative, I don't know what it's like, you know, obviously like writing books, but like, you know, I've had managers who were kind of like would make creative decisions for me and kind of try to like sell me as like, oh, she's this kind of writer, like she's this kind of actor, when like you want to be in charge yourself, you know?
Yes. And then it's weird too, because it's like you're I feel like in a lot of creative fields, you're sort of expected to be grateful for like any creative opportunity you have that's going to give you money or access.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you want to take control of it, they're like, oh, so difficult.
Yes. And that was something that I thought was so interesting, is that Ari, who wants to take control of her narrative just through emails, she wants to set up a meeting, and all of a sudden she's labeled quote unquote difficult.
Yeah. But I think it's so real to be like, I think in that world, it's very much like, oh, well, you're not a stereotypical beautiful actress and you're getting a lot of attention.
Mm-hmm.
You should I think even if you are a stereotypical beautiful actress, it's just like, you've gotten a lot. So just like follow our rules. We'll make you famous in the way we think you should be famous, and it'll all go well.
Yeah.
And she's not even like, no, she's just like, I have questions.
Yeah. And it wasn't even like, it kind of put me in my head. Like, again, I'm in my head about like, how does everyone not overthink all the time? But I'm also like in my head of like, well, am I being difficult? And it's like, oh God, is she, you know what I mean? Like it was
I know. Cause it's like, well, I don't think so, but is that,
Yeah. It's like, I asked the question, am I a terrible person? Goodbye. Okay, so we have our meet cute, Ari, like, and Nina meet and they start dating, and we have like this very like, it felt very like realistic in terms of like the East Side and what it's like to go on dates in the East Side.
I feel like that's just the goal of all of my books. Is just like, this is what it's like being on the East Side of LA. I just want you to understand this realistically.
Yeah, it was like, because like now, like I think you have a brand. You're like, and so when I was like reading it, and you would like mention Frogtown or like even Burba, where I'm going to next month for for a wedding. Like I'm like, this is so Amy Spalding. Just like.
It was so funny because someone was just like, what is like your decision with all the food and all the restaurants? And I'm like, I mean, I think to me, food is like literally my love language. Not just the idea of like cooking for someone, but like, when you enjoy a really exciting meal together, I'm like, is there anything better than that? It's amazing.
No. Yeah. And it's like how like, Nina and her friends connect, because I think, again, what also makes this so Amy Spalding is that there's also like, Nina's other like journey is her journey with, reuniting with her friends. And again, so it's like, your YA novels, like I think talk about like the nuances of female friendship and how important that is. And I felt that with this, despite it being like, for adults or whatever, whoever we are.
I mean, I feel like friendship stories are also love stories. So it's so important to me to show that. But because the other thing is, like, I don't know how I would function without my friends in my life. They're very important to me. Mm-hmm. And I also really wanted Nina to have this journey of like, she'd isolated herself, and she's not just finding love. She's like she's finding love she's finding romantic love, but she's also like getting that friendship love back in her life and feeling like what she missed on by not having it.
Yeah. And I think it's going to be refreshing to a lot of people, because I think like, because of the pandemic, I think a lot of people, and I don't mean this in a mean way, but like we lost social skills, yes. And so I think like, seeing someone like with these like deep thoughts and having these struggles that like everyone is having, like I think this is going to reach so many people who are just like not scared, but like, they're like, I'm getting coffee. Like,
yeah. Or like, is it okay to like reach out to someone who I haven't seen in years? And it's like, yeah, it actually is. People will like to hear from you. It's good.
Yeah. And, it's interesting because, like, I feel like Nina, again, she feels these big thoughts and feels these big emotions. She tends to, like, she villainizes, makes herself the villain in her friends' stories. And so she's like, they must hate me. I must be a problem. I'm going to go. And then it seems like there were, like, rumors that she died and, like, or something.
You just like think like, what if this like happened? Because like I had a anything happen where somebody was very like critical of me, and I was like, oh, I should just take myself away from all my friends. But I'm like weaker than Nina. I couldn't actually do it. I was like, you guys, I'm garbage. And they're like, oh, shut up. Like, which is what Nina should have done, obviously, but that's not what she did. She handled it differently. But I just feel like that's sort of like the deepest it could go for me, of just like, well, if I'm the problem, I'll just remove myself.
Yeah.
And so I just am like, what would that be like if someone did that? Like, what does it feel like on the other side? And I'm like, you would be like, did that person die? Or like, what happened?
Yeah. Like I went through a period where like I was kind of, my mental health wasn't top notch, as the mental health people say, and I very much wanted to isolate myself, and so I think a lot of people, I don't know what they thought, but like I thought, oh, I'm giving them a break, like this is for you.
Yes, you were like, I'm being such a good friend by leaving everyone alone, and it turns out that is not what
that's not it. Yeah, people like automatically think like, oh, where did you go, or like, oh, were you mad at me, you know? And it's like, me, you, I was no. Like
yeah, so it was sort of like, what if, I think I think that's with a lot of writing, is you're taking those like big what if questions in your head of like, what if I'd actually done that? Or like, what would that feel like if it was done to me?
Yeah.
Let's just make a fictional person do it.
Exactly. And then they'll fix all of our problems for us. So well, like the reason why I understand why like Nina would isolate herself is because like she has a very like harsh breakup that, yes, like she gets an email of basically a whole list of what's wrong with her, which was like, oh, your heart just breaks. Your heart just breaks.
I tell you, in the first draft, the email is just alluded to, and my editor was like, no, the email has to be in the book. And I was like, what? And she's like, no, we need to read the email after we've been hearing about it for the whole book. And like writing that email was so horrible.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like terrible thing followed by other terrible thing.
But it felt like I understood who her ex was, and I also, you know, can like understand like, yeah, I would leave Los Angeles, and like, you know, if I had this condo in Santa Clarita, like of course I'd move there. Yeah.
And also I also wanted it to be like, some of it was things that were not the best about her. It wasn't like Nina was perfect. It was that like, this is a very bad way to give your girlfriend feedback.
Oh yeah. And it's like all of that was just like, you know, being like bottled up. And I think it's like, sometimes I think it's hard for people to see women who don't have their shit together.
Yes. Especially if you do, it can just feel like, it's sort of like how you feel. I'm very elderly. I'm in my mid 40s. And so sometimes like I had a lunch today and everyone else was like in their 20s to early 30s. And like, they just said things where I'm like, oh, okay, that's the thing you think when you're 22. And I promise you won't think that for very long, because like, that's just part of being young, and that's fine. But I sort of feel like it's that, like, I'm very conscious when I think that of like, yeah, that's also what you were like. It's not that you're a better person now. You're just an older person now. But I think sometimes people forget that like they've achieved something, but that doesn't mean that like it's easy to achieve it, or that everyone can.
Yeah.
Or that like sometimes people just like, even if you're the same age, you need a little more time to like get to something. And I do feel like there are certain people who are like very driven, and they've achieved a certain amount, and they're just sort of like, well, this is what anyone can do. And if you don't have your shit together, like, that's on you, and it's a real problem.
Yeah. It's so hard because like, you know, like what does have your shit together even mean, you know? And it's like, it makes, you know, like you'll even see it like on dating apps, you know, you're like scrolling and they're like, I want someone who's driven, career driven, who likes
their shit
fun.
Together. And
yeah. And I'm just like, like there's people like, I want somebody who likes to have fun, and it's like, that's not me.
No, I think I have fun, but I know what you mean, and it's not this.
Yeah, like yeah.
It's
and
really not someone who's driving home rethinking everything she said that evening.
or like talking, like there were times where I like would like leave a party or wherever, and I like it'd be a Lyft driver or an Uber driver, and I'd be like, okay, can I just tell you this scenario? So I was like over here and I accidentally bumped that person with my elbow, and like that's the whole ride home. It's just like me freaking out about this like one interaction.
I was like posting a thing to like my Instagram close friends. I'm like, this person glared at me. And then I saw them a week later and they didn't glare at me. And I don't know how I'm supposed to respond. And everyone's like, that's I wouldn't make anything of this, Amy. And I'm like, I could spend 3 more years talking about a glare and then not a glare.
Exactly. It means so much. But like I feel like it's a very creative, a lot of creative people have those big feelings. Like it's, you know.
I think that's really true. I think it's the thing, it's like it fuels you, but it also like is the thing that holds you back in other places.
Yes. Yeah. And what's interesting is that like, okay, we live in this town where like it is full of creatives, and even if like you are not creative, or you know, you're working on the business side, I'm sure there's like something about you that is creative. Absolutely. That likes it. And we're all very emotional, all very sensitive, and it's like we're ingrained to not take things seriously, and for some people it is just way too hard.
Oh yeah. And I get that, because like I feel like it's one thing I love about being in LA, that it feels like it's not everyone, but so many of us are here for creative reasons. And even if we have day jobs, we're pursuing something else. And even like you said, even when you have like a job and that's your career, a lot of them are, even if it's like a math job, it may be within a really creative industry.
Right.
So like it just feels easy here, I think, to like feel accepted in that way. But then I feel like sometimes like people who aren't like, they want the fun part about hanging out with like a bunch of creative people, but not the like mess of it. And I'm like, oh no, I'm sorry, it comes with a mess.
Oh yeah. Like it's just like and it's crazy because it's like we're making your well, I mean in general, but like, you know, we're making your content. We're making your content. You're entertained by this. Yet you think you think I'm
like,
terrible?
you know, your content actually is too weird for me. I'm doing other things. And I'm like, oh, that's right. I'm too much.
You use the term, and like, again, this is just I don't know if it's like a buzzword, but like using the term toxic. I think that's such a term that so many people use to describe other people, to describe relationships. And I feel like the term toxic has so many different definitions that like right now it's hard for me. Like when someone describes something as toxic, I feel like I need to ask more questions. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was interesting, like writing this like big breakup. And then it's like, because it's like, well, is that person toxic? Is she is Nita the toxic one because of like what she's been labeled as? Was it just like a toxic relationship? Is it the breakup? Like, it's also that thing of like, what at the heart are we even like, what is the thing?
Yes. Yeah.
Obviously Nina has interpreted it as that's all her.
Yeah.
But obviously other people interpret it much more as the ex was the toxic situation, or the breakup was.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like, you know, it's not a word. I mean, I don't know, you know, reuse that word, but it's like, oh, I like, you know, like in the end when she like discovers like, she gets perspective from her friends and her aunt, and like, you know, and like realizes like people have layers, including the ones who have their shit together.
And also like all the bad things can be true about you, and that still doesn't mean you're like a worthless pile of garbage.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it means you're a human being, you know?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Like, I mean, yeah.
When that's thrown out against you, I think it can be hard to be like, well, yeah, that is true about me, but it's fine. It's much easier to be like, oh God, no, I'm not like that at all. Or like, am I? And I'm just garbage.
Yeah, because it's like, it's so interesting because like I, like for like 15 minutes today, I was listening to Larry Mantle as I was driving, and like they were talking about apologizing and like making like the idea of like how do you know when like an apology is real? And it's like,
right.
Oh, people want to be the heroes of their own story, so there's always like, well, I'm sorry if XYZ, you know, not just like, how did I hurt you?
Yes. Or like like taking back the idea that like the intention like matters, because at a certain like I would always use the metaphor of like, if you punch me in the face just because you were moving your arms around, it does not make my face not punch. So if like you're doing a thing that doesn't actually like come with any malice, but my feelings are hurt, like to a certain point, I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, also in your thank you notes, you talked about some of the challenges of writing, that you did face challenges, and you were like thanking people who were there for you
Yeah.
based on those. What were some of the challenges that you faced, and how did you get through them?
Well, it was definitely like I was excited to write this book, but it made me it made me nervous. I did feel like I was like venturing into other people's territory, writing adult romance, which is it's really funny because I was talking about this earlier with someone. Romance has actually been so welcoming to me. Like I've definitely felt like it's just like a really warm, open community.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I expected to feel some like people like, what are you doing here? You right? You YA and we're adults. And like that has just never happened. And
Mm-hmm.
everyone's been really lovely and encouraging. But I definitely had a little like some imposter syndrome about it of just like, am I allowed to do this? Is it good? I was also writing it during lockdown, which was,
We
not
all
my
lost our minds.
yeah, I was like not my best time
Mm-hmm.
mental health wise.
Mm-hmm.
And I was writing it too when I was waiting to hear about my YA novel. And I didn't, it's one of those things like in retrospect, the timing very much had to do with sales statements and like making sure, like, whatever. At the time, I was just like, well, they haven't responded and it's been a long time. So probably they hate the book and like my books are all garbage and maybe I'll never sell a book again and I'll never leave my home again. And Trump's going to
Mm-hmm.
be president forever. And this is terrible. And then like, most of that like has not turned out to be true, at least for now. We've at least got the 4-year reprieve from Trump before he becomes the president forever.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah.
Yeah, I've left my house several times since then. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it was a dark time. It was a weird time. And honestly, writing this book gave me a lot of joy, but it was also a weird, I think sometimes, I mean, God, this really does feel like therapy. And like when you're going through dark times, sometimes like joy is scary and feels weird because you're like, am I allowed? I'm like, I would just like, I had my day job and I'd work on that. And then it would be like lunch and I'm going to get to, work with Nina and Ari for an hour. And I would just like be so happy to return to that manuscript and open it back up and
Mm-hmm.
write about them and their love and their friends. And it was joyous, but it was weird to then be like, well, back to work and checking the news about more tragedies. It was such a strange time to be like writing something that was like full of so much joy. And it's not like I felt guilt about it exactly, but it was jarring.
I totally get that. Like sometimes I feel like if like I have like, the stuff I have to do for work, and if I have free time and it's like I can write my own stuff, I'm like I don't deserve this,
Yeah.
even though it's like,
Yes.
for my career, I'm not making money, it just you feel guilty for like taking time for yourself.
Yeah, that too. I will say though that was like was one thing lockdown gave me was there was nothing I felt guilty spending time on because there was
That's
just
true. Yeah.
so much time.
Yeah.
It was like the weirdest thing to be like, oh, I use my entire break to write instead of like get anything done. I don't care. I'll get the stuff done later because there's more time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Like now it's so like I had to like relearn to like write with a day job. And I was like, this is so hard when you leave your house.
Mm-hmm. How is it going? Like, I mean, have you like how was it like writing once everything opened up and you went back to the office and stuff?
It's been a challenge. I had it it's a long, boring story that's just not worth anyone's full time. So sorry to all my friends who've heard the long full story several times. But basically there was an account at work that's very important and very large. And we were in between employees and I was helping out a little, and then that person left completely. And so then I was basically doing the job of two people.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that for a little bit. There was a reprieve, and then it was basically like they were sick and I had to take over completely, but with the thought that they would come back, and then they came back very briefly and quit. And so then I had to like, at that point I said like, I can't do this alone on a like infinite basis. And so I was able to get a little help, but I was definitely doing more than like one person's job.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have anything left for writing. And it
Yeah.
wasn't just the time, because like I would go home and technically have time, but my brain was just like used up. And I certainly didn't have time to like, oh, it's lunchtime, I'm going to spend like 30 minutes with my manuscript. It was just like, I'm going to eat and just keep working.
Mm-hmm.
And it was temporary. Like, someone was hired, he handles the account now, I handle my own accounts, everything's great. But it was at like the worst possible timing for a manuscript being due.
Yeah.
And it was weird because I was like, oh, I learned I have limits. And I know that sounds dumb because of course we all have limits, but I felt like that was the first time it was super tested.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And
I
I was
think
just
yeah.
like,
Mm-hmm.
I also feel like I'm older than I feel like when I was younger, I could have so many things going on, and like I was so excited to write and I just had so much left. And I'm like, I'm tired now. And when I'm that depleted from work, I don't come home and have excitement about what to write. Even if I do somewhere deep buried, I'm tired. I don't have anything to give.
Yeah, because it's almost like I feel like I learned that like, oh, I think I'm burnt out. And it's like
Yeah.
your brain burns out, and like you realize that like, oh, being creative and like even though you're just like sitting at a desk and thinking, that takes like just as
And
much
it's like your
energy.
dream job. It's like I wanted to be a writer my whole life, so I feel like I should always be able to like summon it up. But it's like, well, it's work though. It's
It
work.
is. Yeah. And then I mean, talking from myself, like I feel like guilty when it's like, well, I just would rather kind of just like look at the ceiling for 15
Yes.
minutes because I was like thinking all day and like just like give my brain a break. And then like, of course, then the thoughts go like a mile a minute and it's like, what am I doing out here? Like, da 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 da, you know?
Yes. It's really hard. So I do feel like in some ways, and the thing was I missed a deadline, and then it turned out I was able to turn it in a time that didn't screw anything up anyway. And now we're
Hmm.
back on track and everything's fine, which is also a good lesson of like a lot of things are not actually like breakable. Like it's fine.
Hmm. Yeah.
But I told my boss and I said, like, I learned I can't do that. And he's like, well, he's like, look, I know that you were still going out and doing stuff and that you still had time. And I said, it's not about the time. It was about my brain. And I've learned about what I got in me. And I'm like, I got to protect that in the future, especially if I have something to do. And I'm like, hey, if that ends up not being this job, though I think it's going to be fine. Like, I'm like,
Yeah.
I learned like what I can do and what I can't. So in some ways it was a good lesson, but it was like, oh, I've never just blown through it. I To get an email from your editor, it's like, hey, is this done? It's like, no. And
Hmm.
by no, I mean really not. Like really not.
Right. Yeah. 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 I mean, yeah. But it's like I'm glad you got to that place because now you know your limit. Like not your limits, but like you know
No,
how
but
you work, you
it's
know.
weirdly helpful to be like, okay, well, I know this is what I need and this is what I can't do. And I also know that I can probably get more time if I ask for it. So like I think some like unless you go through that, like next time if I'm running late on something, I will not be scared. And I actually think that would have
Hmm.
helped me because I was like, it was like that cycle, like you said, because you need to give yourself a break, but then you're so guilty.
Hmm.
And so you're not really giving yourself a break. You're just not working.
Yeah. Yeah. You're just like you're still using like the mental energy, and you're just gonna like, because like, there is the. I don't want to say the act three, just the low point, where
Yeah.
Nina, does kind of there's a heartbreak that happens. She retreats back into like her old ways, and she takes like it was really like refreshing to see how she like kind of gets back together. It was very relatable. Like she like was burnt out and she took this time for herself. But I think like you said earlier, she was finding like little moments of joy, like getting her hair done and getting a new
Yeah.
outfit.
Yeah. And I think like even you can see that after she sort of like tries to like disconnect again, like she can't really let herself all the way this time.
No, no. And it was just like it was kind of like what you were saying earlier of like my friends would just be like, "No, just
Yeah.
get back shut
Yeah,
up and
yeah.
get back out here."
Because they were like, oh, we thought something serious happened. It turned out you were just being a goober. Like, we're
Hmm.
handling this.
Yeah, that's so nice. It's really like another thing I liked about the book was just the found family in this, with her group of friends and how she chose that in the end.
Yeah.
How like I think with like happily ever afters again, especially with like this, a Hollywood lifestyle or, just something that feels more fantastical, you know. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, you got the promotion at the job. Oh, you're married with kids. Like, oh, you moved into a house and you like won a bunch of money in the lawsuit or whatever. Like all these great
Yeah.
things. But hers was just like, I got property.
Yeah, it was so important to me that like the found family was like a really big part of the story because first of all, I just like again, my friendships are so important to me and I think to a lot of people. I mean, and I'm certainly not like the first romance that has really good like friend network, but I feel like years back, certainly I don't feel like anyone who's like writing modern romance now, but like it felt very much like, well, there's family and then there's the love interest and like maybe like a best friend who's like, oh, I'm encouraging you, or you know, like, but like I didn't feel that sort of like friend connection that's like as important, just in a different way. And often not even that different of a way than like a romantic connection, because it's still like people who see you like for who you are and still see the best in you and still love you. And I just, to me, there's no love story if like you don't have the friendship love story too. So it was really like, that was one of those things where it was like, no, like this book is going to have like a chosen family in it. I think especially within the queer world, like it's just really important to have those people who like really understand you and get where you're coming from, but are, you know, again, also willing to like push back on her and be like, no, that's not a thing. Like get over it nicely. But
but in a supportive way. It's interesting because like I feel like maybe as I was getting older, like I had this like narrative in my brain of like, you have your friends and you see each other all the time, but eventually you're gonna get married and you're never gonna see them again. You know, and it's like, you know, to see that like, oh, wait a minute, we can think outside the box in the end. We can, you know, make our own lives. Can you believe it?
I feel like, I mean, not everyone, of course, but I feel like, I mean, my parents, like that was absolutely like, they had friends, but like it felt mainly like, well, like other parents or like people at church or like, you know, like maybe a coworker and like their spouse, and they would all go out on like a spouse double date. But like, you know, I didn't see a lot of people. And I think part of that too is like, you know, growing up in the Midwest and not necessarily like in a creative community, not an urban area where like, I think things are a little different, but you know, I didn't see that behavior modeled. It was very much like, well, yeah, you have friends when you're young. That's what young people do, have friends. And then you get serious about life and get a spouse and have kids. And like, you see your friends once a year and that's normal. And, you know, I like you said, I learned that was not how everyone had to be.
Yeah. But it almost feels like, you know, when you're like, oh, I'm still hanging out with my friends. I'm like this age, like, am I not an adult? You know what I mean? Like, am I still a kid for having friends? You know, it's just like that weird.
And then it was funny because like I would, you know, like one of my really good friends has a kid. And I remember when she was pregnant, she was like, we're just not going to let it affect as much as possible because our friendships are really important to us. And we're not going to like abandon like our solo lives that we've like spent 30 plus years building. And I was like, all right, good luck with that. I hear baby's doing a lot of work. And then like the second she was like, let's aim to go out to dinner. And I was like, okay. But I kept being like, if you don't feel comfortable, don't do it. And I even like, I remember I like pulled up to pick her up and I was like ready to tell her like, if like you just want to go back inside and not do this. And she like jumped in my car. She's like, I'm free, drive fast.
Yeah. Because it is like, oh yeah.
Oh, this is a choice. I mean, it's also like a luxury. Not everyone has childcare. Not everyone has a partner who's like very much willing to do half the work, etc. But like, it's a thing where like there, you know, even people who do traditional things like get married and have like, there's still so, you know, the friendships do not have to die. People can still see each other.
Yeah,
and that was important for me to show too. Of like, everyone in her friend group is like, there are different, like there are people who are like, there's someone who's single, there's someone who's like in a new relationship, there's like a married couple who are like trying to have a kid, like, and they all value these friendships in a very similar way. It's not like this is less important to the married couple or, you know.
Yeah. It was nice to read. Like I think like just this book like breaks the mold in so many ways, you know, of that I've noticed from my perspective of living in Los Angeles, like choosing to be single, as you'd get older and your friends are marrying off, like, things like that. And it was just like, yes, there's, it's a romance, but it also, it kind of goes outside the box a little bit in like what it means to be happy and to like cultivate your life,
Yeah, I think to me it's like you've got to have all the pieces, or at least like I don't want to write I don't want to write like a romantic love story when there's not also like some friendship love and some family love. It doesn't have to be, it can be chosen family. I'm not saying it has to be like family of origin, but like even though this book does have a family member who she's very close to, I just like, to me, having all those pieces is like, well, you're trying to give someone like this happily ever after, like give it all to them.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like you're thrilled for her in the end, and it's like, yeah, she really like, because I think in like other books, like the happily ever after again is like so high stakes of like they bought an island or like like.
I did feel like, I mean, like, I won't give spoilers, but like, I was sort of like, oh, I skipped past like the Hollywood glamour stuff for like the happily ever after.
I love that you did that.
I'm like, let's talk about like other stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I loved the epilogue in this book, and like I thought it was like one of the strongest parts. I guess maybe again because of like my experience like living in Los Angeles. But I wanted to ask you, like, how there like are there novels where there's dual perspective, like this one is entirely from Nina's perspective, which I loved. Did it ever cross your mind to like kind of maybe like alternate with like Ari's character?
Well, I know that that's very much like how many romances are written, including many that I like. I feel like I really like, to me, the book is like Nina's journey.
Yes.
And so like I guess I felt like to some degree, which is silly because I read so many romances that are dual perspective, and it does not ruin it for me to know that both characters are interested in one another. In fact, it can be like a heightening because you're like, come on, guys, talk. You both like each other. And I love reading books like that. But I kept thinking, I was worried about like, I was like, I don't know if I know how to make it as compelling if I'm showing both sides, because then it just feels like, why aren't they together? And I'm like, but you read books like that and it works. So why are like, write it. But I think I tend to like envision books as like, it's about this person and their love story is part of it.
Yes.
And it's not like that person isn't important. And I want them like Ari has her own journey. She learns to like, like she is like a little bossy. She does want things done her own way. And I think in your career, the kind of career she has, that's actually really good. You can't necessarily do that in your personal life with your girlfriend in the same way, which is something she definitely tries to get away with multiple times. And so like her, I wanted Ari to have a journey. I wasn't like, she's perfect. And like Nina's, it's like, no, but like, I still like seeing that through Nina's eyes, to me was like how I wanted to tell the story. So I do feel like I want to try to write a dual point of view romance at some point, but I don't know, not yet, y'all.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta, like, at the end of the day, and this is what Nina learns, you have to be you. You have to do the things that are you.
It's true.
And I think this book, like, I don't know, like, I love that it was just Nina's story, because again, like you said, like, this is her love story, but it's also, like, she's, like, kind of, like, it's a putting your life back together story, It's like a rebuilding story, and, like, I think that's what so many people are, like, doing now to, like, any sort of extent, just, like, getting, their lives back and things like that. Okay, another question. This is a serious question. Ari has a cat that no one thinks exists.
It's true.
Do you think it's possible for someone to get away their entire lives saying they have a cat, but they really don't? Because I was thinking about this of like, what would I do?
Here's the thing. I am like, wouldn't she post the cat on social media? What's her deal? But it also feels like she doesn't really use social media the way anyone wants her to. So the thing that made me like write The Invisible Cat is because, like, as you know, I have cats. They've been
Mm-hmm.
jumping around this entire podcast recording. And yet I feel like I had a dog at one point, and people would come over and my dog would be like, I'm so excited to meet you. And they'd like get to know her. And she was so sweet and had such a good personality. And so all my friends knew her. And, you know, and when she passed away, like everyone was so sweet because they'd like, it just felt like everyone met her and also had like a little bit of a relationship with her.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of makes me sad that like I love my cats so much, but and not like my cats I have now, they're pretty actually pretty social, and like people do get to meet them and like they get to know people. But like cats I've had before, if people come over, they're just like under a couch or under a bed or like jumped into the closet. And
Mm-hmm.
or like they come out and they're like this and then they like slink away. And I'm like, that cat is my truest companion, and you would never think they're nice, or like what about them would you ever know? Like you believe me that I'm like, but you do
Mm-hmm.
feel like to some degree, especially people who don't have cats, that I'm like, isn't this cat amazing? And they're like, no, it's just a cat who hides under a chair. It doesn't do anything.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because like I like cats have their boundaries, and it's like they have their limits, and they're like they're not gonna hide it. They don't fake it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Of like, I don't like
exactly.
you. I'm gonna go over there.
Which when you say it that way, I'm like, oh, that's kind of like Ari. So I'd love to say I did that like on purpose, but that's just I love the thought of just like because like yeah, if someone comes over, they're not necessarily going to see your cats.
Right, yeah. I used to work as like a dog walker, cat sitter, and there was this one woman who I fed her cats, and I thought she only had one cat. She had two. And one was always hiding, and for my job we had to take a picture of the animal to like show that we were like in their apartment, but I never saw the second cat. So I would just like take pictures of the cat on the cat food can and be like, "Here's your cat."
No, my mom cat sits for someone and she's never seen she's like, one time I saw a tabby fly down the hallway, and that is the closest I've seen.
Yeah,
Like it's
yeah.
totally normal. It's just like cats, if they don't want to see you, you're not going to see them.
Right. Yeah. But at the same time, like, so I saw a show last week and someone mentioned, like, isn't it great? Like, the best thing in the world is when a cat likes you. And it's like, yeah.
It does feel really special.
Mm-hmm. It's like, what is it about me? I have this energy. I have this magic aura.
Yeah, because the cats I had before who were more likely to like hide and not be social,
Mm-hmm.
they were like occasionally they would just like someone they would really like and really like want to spend time with. And I was always like really it like touched me too, because I was like, oh, they like that person.
Yeah. Because they're choosy and
They chose, yeah.
they chose. Yeah. Um, so what is next for you? Are you writing another romance? Is it in this world, Hollywood world, or what's can you tell
I
us?
can't say a lot now, but I'll
Okay,
just say I do
understandable.
plan on writing more adult, which I'm
Hmm.
really excited about.
Hmm.
And I have a YA novel out in April.
Oh my God, that's so exciting.
Just nuts to I was like, 2 months, another book. But it's called No Boy Summer, and it's about two sisters who have had like a lot of boy disasters that have been like blowing up their lives.
Hmm.
And so they're gonna go stay with their aunt for the summer and get sort of like, you know, part-time summer jobs, and no boys are allowed. But my main character is secretly bisexual, so she starts dating a girl in part to skirt the rules.
Hmm.
So
Oh,
she
I
does
love
not
it.
reveal what she's doing to anyone, and you know, obviously shenanigans ensue.
Oh, I love it. Do you think do you think moving forward you're gonna do both, like continue to do adult and YA? Like, do you see that for yourself?
I think so. It's really interesting because, you know, I think anyone of any age can actually write YA. I've read like amazing YA written by people like far older than me, but I
Hmm.
do wonder sometimes. I'm like, am I just gonna hit a point where I just feel like old and out of touch, and I'm like in such like so many generations removed from people who are 16 now that I can't like tell stories that make sense to them, not because
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing some like not because of them, but because like I'm just like, here's what old-timey people did, and they're like, this is nuts. So I like the thought of doing both right now, and I like the thought that if like I hit a point where I just feel like old and aged and not with the youth, that I have like another thing that maybe will like continue, like that can continue to be a good fit. So
Totally. Yeah. I was like working on something and with a friend, and we were like this is going to be like a coming of age, and we were both like, let's just make it take place in the 90s so we don't have to worry about it.
I know.
Great.
I really like every time I have an idea that's like, what if this was in the 90s? And I'm like, okay, well, sure, maybe one thing, but maybe not all the ideas.
It's just like,
yeah,
it's so much
like,
easier.
I'm like the age of like the parents in books now. So sometimes it's like, well, maybe then just write about the older people. But I don't know. I still have a lot of like, I do think if you're someone who has big feelings and a lot of emotion, that really can tap into how you felt in your youth, because I feel like that's so much of what you go through then. And I mean, I still remember one time I got a note on a YA novel where a character was mad at her friend and he texted her, and so she threw her phone at the wall. And my editor was like, this is a really immature reaction for a 17-year-old. I would cut this. And I was like, I did that like 3 weeks ago. So, you know, I think I feel like fairly still tapped into some of those feelings, but I don't know. Sometimes I'm just like, well, I haven't been through like the pandemic as a kid. I'm like, we'll see.
Right.
We'll see. I think at some point there's just going to be like a separation where I'm like, I don't know. You're very young. Good luck.
Yeah. I think just like having like fleshed out characters, no matter who is writing, like, I think all of us can still relate to a teenager's struggles. You know what I mean?
I think so too, especially because people are like, how do you get tapped in with teens? And I'm like, well, I write characters and I make them three-dimensional, and then some are young and some are old, and I just try to like fulfill the honesty of that character. And to me, that's like, that doesn't matter how old I am. But
right. Yeah.
At the same time, I'm like, is that just what every person in their 40s says about writing a 16-year-old?
Maybe. Who knows?
So I don't know. It's funny because like I feel like every time I'm like, I don't know, maybe this is it for me. And then I have an idea and I really like it. And I'm like, well, not yet.
Yeah. Do you think one of these days you'll like write, like, what if you wrote like both a YA novel and then a romance novel about like the parents in it? So it was like it's
That's
same story.
Honestly, like I feel like something like because like, do you know like shows like My So-Called Life, where like the teens would have a plot, but then like so would the adults, or like Parenthood? Like those shows are all like my favorites. Like I love a family drama. And so I'm like, no, absolutely.
Oh, that would be so cool. Oh my God.
I guess that would just be like, I feel like if that's like, because I feel like a lot of like just like literature, you know, like just a fiction, not like a tropey romance or something. I do feel like there's plenty of, you know, just like regular books that have, you know, multiple POVs. That does sound fun.
Oh,
that would also be like, and also it's a romance. I feel like there's too many characters in this. What's happening?
I know. Yeah.
I'm like, oh, you didn't like it when I wrote one POV? What if there's 8?
Here, I'll make up for all the POVs you didn't get. Here's a book with 12. So you're going on tour soon. Where do you want to like give some plugs where you'll be? What's going to be exciting about it?
I will just say I won't give like every single detail here, so you can check my website, which is theamyspalding.com. So it's probably just easier to Google Amy Spalding and follow a link. It's a terrible URL to say aloud. But I'm going to be in LA, San Francisco, Boston, New York, St. Louis, San Diego, and I'm really excited about it. All those cities I'm really excited about.
I am so excited for you. Again, this book, I know it's only February. One of my favorites of 2023. I'm saying
Thank you so much.
It was so good. So good.
It means a lot to me. Thank you.
Too Stupid to Live is part of the Frolic Podcast Network. For more podcasts you'll love, visit frolic.media/podcasts. Thank you so much for listening, and have a great rest of your day.
Did you know that most vitamin D3 supplements come from sheep's wool? I'm Kat, founder of Ritual, We're making traceability the new standard for the supplement industry. When I was pregnant, I couldn't find a multivitamin I could trust, so I created my own. Ours is made traceable, third-party tested, and clean label project certified. Oh, and our vitamin D3, it comes from sustainably harvested lichen from England, not sheep. Trace for yourself with 25% off at ritual.com/podcast.